Hello students, today under the module of communication we will talk about different models of communication. This module defines what communication is, what we mean by a model, and then what we mean by a model of communication. We know that communication has been defined as an exchange of opinion, information, ideas or feelings between two or more than two persons in such a way that each gains an understanding of the intent, meaning and purpose of communication. Communication may occur generically in three different situations, and then we will go on describing different models of communication given by various researchers and theorists. After going through this module, you will be able to define what is communication, what is a model of communication, and then describe various models of communication. What is communication? We all know, and we have earlier also defined, that communication is a exchange of opinion, information and ideas between two or more than two persons. We all know that it occurs in three different situations. First is 1:1 situation. In this situation, one person is communicating with another person in a face-to-face situation. This is known as interpersonal communication. The second situation is what we call as 1:few. In this, one person is in communication with few persons. The few person may be more than 2, 20, 30, but not as we will not be able to count them. This is defined as a group communication. And the third situation is when a person is 1:many situation. In this, a person is communicating with many persons simultaneously. They may be more than 100, more than 1,000 or even millions. This is called mass communication. Now we come to define what is a model. Depending on the context, a model may mean different things to different person. For example, a model of a house may try to graphically illustrate the layout or floor plan of different components such as number of bedrooms, their sizes, lobby, kitchen, toilet, etc. In medical science context, a model may demonstrate the functioning of an organ in a human body. For example, we may know how the human heart beats, but a model of human heart can graphically picturize the beating of a heart. Further, in a fashion show, human model may parade on the ramp showing off different designs and creations of a fashion designer. However, we must not forget that a model is just a model. It is not the real thing. They are usually smaller in size and not up to the standard scales. Models are arbitrary in nature and do not conform to any universally accepted norm. We all know, friend, that Collins dictionary many of us have, and it tells you that a model means a physical representation of an object that shows what it looks like or how it works. So in the broadest sense, a model is only an abstract idea. It can present a visual presentation of an object or a thing or a person, and its purpose is just to facilitate the understanding of the concept or the construct it represents. However, a model of communication may try to explain how human beings communicate among themselves. It attempts to capture the essential elements of the process of communication and graphically illustrate or recreate the communication as an event or as a process as it occurs in a specific context or situation. We all know communication involves exchange of ideas, information and messages from a sender to an intended receiver, that is, to whom we are trying to send the message. The main purpose of communication model is therefore to offer a symbolic representation of how communication takes place in different situations and how it can be tracked. Depending on the researches, depending on different paradigms, several models of communication have been given by various researchers and theorists depending on the intent, context or the objectives of communication. We can group them into three categories. Number 1, linear models of communication. Number 2, interactive models of communication. And number 3, transactional model of communication. So friends, first we will deal with what is a linear model of communication. According to this, communication is a one-way process wherein the sender sends a message to the intended audience. The drawback of this model is that it assumes that there is a clear-cut beginning and a clear-cut ending of every communication act. It also does not display any concern for the feedback or response from the receiver. But an interactive model, on the other hand, focuses on the effect of the message sent by the sender. This model conceptualizes communication as a two-way process and seeks to find out the impact of communication, which will be in the form of a feedback from the receiver of communication. And a transactional model of communication assumes that sender and receiver are like tuned together and constantly engaged in communication. This happens in most of our daily conversations. Sender and receiver, while communicating, switches their role alternatively, facilitating the transaction, which I mean exchange of message, to take place between two persons in an effortless manner. This is a more realistic model of a communication as it happens in our day-to-day life. It recognizes that both the persons are constantly involved in interaction. So, in this transaction model, the process of communication is not only illustrated as a linear process and also an interactive process, it becomes a kind of circular in fashion where a person is constantly in communication with other receiver. However, in this module, we will try to explain some of the basic models which have been given by various researchers in detail one by one. The first model they will talk about now is Aristotle model of communication. We know, friends, that Aristotle was an eminent Greek philosopher and writer who conceptualized communication as an art of public speaking. So, when a public speaker communicates, he tries to get his message across to many persons. During this communication process, his focus is on the persuasive power of communication, thereby influencing the thinking and perceptions of the public. A good public speaker, according to Aristotle, can skillfully manipulate the audience through public presentation of what he called as rhetoric. That is why this model is also known as rhetoric model of communication. This model comprises of three things: ethos, which means ethical; pathos, which means emotion; and logos, which means logic. The ethos relates to the speaker, pathos relates to the audience, and the logos refer to the speech delivered by the speaker. The Aristotle model of communication has given a graphic illustration of how communication takes place. As we said, communication was conceptualized by him as an art of public speaking. So, Aristotle model comprises of three things: one, speaker; second, speech; and the third component, audience. Now, speaker selects the speech and then he communicates that speech, he delivers that speech to the intended audience. In Aristotle model of communication, speaker refers to the person who is speaking to an audience. Speech refers to the message which speaker wants to communicate to the public, and the audience refers to the person who listens to the speech of the speaker. So, what we see in this model, speaker is supposed to play a critical role in framing the public opinion. Therefore, he should prepare the speech very carefully and keeping in mind the target audience. Aristotle's model also, as we have seen, that it is known as a rhetoric model of communication. It was widely acclaimed because of its simplicity. He believed that speech was effective to the extent it is able to stir up the emotions of the target audience and creates an impact on the public perceptions about the critical issues affecting the public life. Now, the second model of communication is Lasswell model. Harold Lasswell was a political scientist who studied the effect of mass media on the public and initiated a new tradition which included the study of communication effect. His model of communication can be summarized by 5 questions that he sought to ask while observing the human behavior. In his model, he put up a question: who says what, in which channel, to whom, with what effect? He said that if we can answer these 5 questions of who says what, to whom, in which channel, with what effect, we will be able to trace the process of communication. And thereby he launched a new paradigm of communication, which was later known as hypodermic needle theory of communication or bullet theory of communication. This model was proposed in the era when the mass media in the form of press and radio were ruling the society. That is why Lasswell emphasized that human beings were the defenseless targets of massive propaganda unleashed by the ruling powers through the mass media, especially radio, because it was the dominant mass media in that age. Public was led to believe what was being said through the mass media, and that was the propaganda which was done by the ruling elite, and it was ultimately responsible for the First World War. Shannon and Weaver's model of communication. This was the first major model given in 1949 by Claude Shannon, a social scientist, and Warren Weaver, a telephone engineer at Bell Laboratories of USA. They conceptualized communication as a mechanical process involving the transmission of message encoded in the form of a signal from one end, which was the source or receiver, to another, which was the designated receiver. The model can be graphically illustrated as given here. The model comprises 5 elements: source, transmitter, signal, receiver, destination. Okay, now I will explain it. The model comprises of a source which produces a message, then there is a transmitter which encodes the message into the form of a signal, a channel to which signals are adapted for transmission, a receiver which decodes or reconstructs the message from signal, and finally the destination where the message reaches to the people to complete its journey. It actually illustrates how 2 persons communicated using the telephone. As we all know, Shannon and Weaver later demonstrated this communication could suffer from 3 different types of problem. That is, first problem which may be in the form of technical problem, that is how accurately the message is transmitted. The second problem is semantic problem, which will relate to the precise communication of meanings by the sender. And the third is effectiveness problem, which includes changes in the behavior of the receiver. Shannon and Weaver, through this model, have tried to introduce a new concept of noise. We all know this noise could be in the form of any sound. This refers to the disturbance during the process of transmission of message. It can adversely affect the reception of message by the receiver and ultimately its interpretation. It was criticized for being too simple and assuming that communicators are isolated individuals. The model failed to take into account the considerable context and the differences in the context which may give rise to different interpretations by different individuals. This model therefore conceptualized communication as a one-way traffic. Next is the Berlow's model of communication. David K. Berlow was an eminent communication researcher who proposed this model of communication in 1960 by expanding the concepts given by Shannon and Weaver, which was essentially a linear process. Berlow added two new concepts, that is encoding and decoding, while proposing the new SMCR model, which is graphically illustrated like this. So, as we have seen in this model, Berlow has identified four separate elements of the communication process, that is source, message, channel and receiver. However, when we communicate the message through these elements, or we see the message being communicated, the communication process essentially involves these four components. However, the encoding is done by the person who is communicating, and encoding refers to the process of converting the ideas or information into the form of a message using a system of signs and symbols. This is also known as treatment of message, and it takes place in the mind of the receiver, who is the initiator of communication process. The resultant message is carried through a channel, but before it reaches its intended receiver, the message needs to be decoded by the receiver. The decoding process refers to imputation of meaning, or taking out the meaning from the words which are included in the message. The ability of the source to encode and ability of the receiver to decode the message are very critical to the success of communication. Next model is Ligon's model of communication. In 1963, J. Paul Ligon has proposed a model which includes the following elements. According to Ligon, the task of communication is to provide incentives for change. To achieve this, we need to understand the 6 elements of communication which are given in the model. First is communicator, then message, channel, treatment, audience and audience response. According to Ligon, a skillful communicator sends the relevant and useful messages through appropriate channel to the intended receiver. The message must be treated very carefully so that the target audience is able to comprehend, and upon the understanding it gives a desired response. Without the audience response, communication process will not be complete. Therefore, this model took a new vision and conceptualized the model from just being a linear process to a interactive process, because in linear process it is just a one-way traffic where the message flows from sender to the receiver. But in this, the Ligon's model, the element which he added was feedback, and it is this element which completes the interactive process as a two-way process. And now we discuss the Schramm's model of communication. Wilbur Schramm was one of the eminent researchers that we know in the field of communication. Until now, that model that were described conceptualized communication as a one-way process. This dominant paradigm of communication have included several major elements which constituted the process of communication. But Schramm proposed a new model of communication where he argued that we should also examine the impact of communication, both the desirable impact and undesirable impact on the target audience. Consequently, what model that he proposed, he added a new element in this, that is response. The visible impact of communication can be studied in the form of response of the audience. The diagrammatic presentation of model is given as it is now. Schramm's model of communication says that a skillful communicator sends useful and relevant messages through appropriate channel, effectively treated to an intended audience, and when it is received, the audience gives a response. Now this response sometime may be desirable or as expected by the sender, but sometime the receiver can give an undesirable response also. The communication, according to Wilberschram, may include acts, commands, advices, and asking questions. We all know that Ligon also argued that communication can be seen as a process of social interaction wherein two persons share a common set of signs and symbols governed by certain rules, but he gave the name effect, whereas Wilberschram talked about response. But during these two interactions, a person may acquire certain communication competencies necessary for producing the desirable response from the receiver. Rogers and Shoemaker model of communication. In 1971, Rogers and Shoemaker proposed the most pragmatic and widely accepted model of communication. In this model, communication is conceptualized as a generic two-way process which fits well in the context of development communication. The visual presentation of communication includes, in this model, Rogers and Shoemaker introduced the concept of effects as the last component, making the communication as a two-way process. Source was assumed to be the initiator of communication. The second element is message, which is transmitted using a channel to the target receiver. But they said that the process of communication is not complete without sender knowing about the effect of communication. But they said that the process of communication will not be complete without the sender knowing about the fate of communication. So they introduced effect as the fifth element of the proposed model of communication. And now we discuss Barlin model of communication. In 1970, Barlin proposed a new model which conceptualized communication as a transaction between sender and receiver. Friends, we have seen how earlier theorists conceptualized communication as a one-way traffic, which were known as linear model of communication, and then later on several other theorists conceptualized communication as an interaction between two persons. But the transactional model of communication, which is proposed by the Barlin, include that people are connected through communication, and this communication involves a continued transactions in the form of exchange of message. So first is recognize that each one of us, that is the person who are in constant communication, takes the role of a sender as well as receiver, and not just merely removed from others as a sender or receiver. So a sender becomes a receiver, and later on a receiver becomes a sender. The second aspect is that it recognizes that communication affects all the parties involved in communication. So when we communicate, the person who initiated the communication, the message will reach to the second person, and second person can communicate, and the message will receive by the third person, and continued exchange of this message will take place. So this model depicts a kind of face-to-face situation wherein senders and receivers are engaged in constant exchange of message. These messages may relate to the needs of the people, this may relate to the information they have sought, it may relate to the doubts that they are trying to clear by asking the sender several questions. So sender becomes a receiver while receiving the message from this. Earlier the sender, the person was there, and the receiver becomes the sender when he is asking a question to the person who was initially a sender of the message. So in this transaction, there is no clear-cut beginning and no clear-cut end of communication. This talks about communication as a continuous process of communication, and that is how it takes place when human beings are communicating. So this postulated communication as a continuous process wherein sender and receivers switches their role effortlessly during the communication. In most of our daily communications or conversation when we engage, we don't really realize when we have ended and when we have started. The conversation goes like that. So, transaction is a continuous exchange of messages between the communicator and the receiver. Now, we come to the conclusion where we will summarize what we have learned so far. Friends, we know that we have defined communication as the process of exchange of ideas and information, sharing of emotions and feelings in different contexts and situations. While communicating, we try to create commonness between the two people or more than two people who are engaged in communication. But a model of communication, we have defined this as a graphic illustration of the process of communication. To explain this process of communication, different researchers had given different models depending on different situations, context and conditions. We classified the models into three categories: linear models, interaction models and transaction model, and explained different models according to different stakeholders in the process of communication. We discussed communication model given by Aristotle, Shannon and Weaver, Lasswell, David Berlow, Wilbur Schramm, J. Paul Liggins, Roger and Shoemaker and Barlan. I do hope that by now you may have got different conceptualization of communication under different situations by graphical illustrations of the model that have been presented beautifully by different theorists.